Hello everyone, in today's video we want to have a look at how to modify an image using Stable Diffusion. There are different techniques for changing an image. One is to change the full image, and this will be the Img2Img technique. The other way is to just change little parts of the image, which is the Inpainting technique. In my previous video we had a look at the first technique, so the Img2Img technique. Today we are going to have a look at the Inpainting one. The choice between the two techniques depends on the result we want to achieve. And in today's video we are going to have a look on how to add objects into our image. So we'll go from something like this to something like that. In particular, we are going to have a look at which are the most important settings for achieving best results. Once we initialize Stable Diffusion, we need to move into the Img2Img tab, and then you will see here the Inpaint tab. So let's move into this window. And the first thing we want to do is to drop the image here we want to modify. I picked my pictures from Pexels, which is a website where you can find free photos and videos. It's quite useful. And I will start drawing a mask on top of it where I want to change the image. So let's assume I want to build a meal at the end of this path. So I'm going to increase the size of my pointer a little bit, and I'm going to draw this mask on top of my image, which is where we would like to have our meal to be. Now, in my case, the meal should have a kind of square shape or rectangular shape, so this is fine. But if you want to add something like people, the best is to draw the mask with the shape of that person. So for example, in this case, if I wanted to have a smaller meal, it makes no sense for me to draw such a big mask. If I want something bigger, obviously I'm gonna draw something bigger. Now, there are different ways of approaching this actually. I'm gonna go through the best approach to me, and I will explain also the other ones though, while we go through all of the settings. The model I'm going to use is the Realistic Vision version 5, just because the image I'm using is a realistic picture. I picked this checkpoint from the Civit AI website. It's exactly this one. And something I would like to do is I want to get the negative prompt. So I'll copy it and paste it in here. Make sure you have bad dream and unrealistic dream if you're using them in your negative prompt. And I'm going to use some of these settings, like for example, the sampler. So it's DPM++ SD Scaras, which is not this one, but this one. We can increase this to 25. I think the rest is fine for now. Now let's have a look at the main settings. So let's scroll down. The first one we have is the mask blur. If we hover these settings, by the way, you can see what they are, why are they useful. Anyway, the lower the mask blur, the more the change we are going to apply on the image. So for now, 4 it's perfect to me. Then we have the mask mode. So you can choose Inpaint Mask or Inpaint No Mask. What does that mean? If you have Inpaint Mask, you're going to paint only what's inside the mask. If you choose the other option instead, you're going to paint what's outside of the mask. Why is this important? This is important because of our prompt description. So the prompt description will depend on what we are choosing here. So in my case, I have Inpaint Mask because I would like to have a meal inside this mask. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to describe in the prompt what I would like to have in the mask, which in my case is all style meal. Then after that, we have the mask content. This is very important as well, because as you can see, if you hover, it says it's what put inside the mask area before processing it with Stable Diffusion. What does it mean? So we have 4 options. We have fill, original, latent noise, and latent nothing. With fill, the result will be generated from an extremely blurred version of the input image. With original, the results will be generated based on the original content. And this is what you will want if you don't want to change much the image. So if you want to just change the color, for example, of a tree, or you just want to add some little flowers, but not if you want to change drastically the portion of the mask, which is what we want to do now. In this case, what's best is to use laden noise or laden nothing. With laden noise, the result will be very different from the original image. Basically, it's like starting from a blank state. With laden nothing instead, Stable Diffusion will fill the area with a single solid color that is a blend of the colors of the original image. So also in this case, the results will be very different from the original image, again, only on the masked area in this case, but will still maintain a trace of its color palette. So as I said before, in this case, we want to change drastically that area of the mask, so we are going to use laden nothing for now. Then in paint area is another important setting, so you have wall picture or only masked. Wall picture will change the full picture, mainly focusing on the masked area, but the full picture will change. Only masked, we are going to change just the area we have drawn on our image. So in this case, again, I want to use only mask because I want to change just that little part. So I think these are the most important settings for the mask. Let's have a look at the other settings which are important still, like the CFG scale, the denoising strength. The CFG scale is always important because the higher the CFG scale, the more importance we are giving to the prompt description. The denoising strength is important as well because the higher, the more creative will be the result. The lower, the less creative. So you will have something more similar to what's on the original image. In my case, I would like to have something more creative, so I'm going to use a 0.75 denoising strength. Then I'm not going to use control net now because I would like Stable Diffusion to use its own imagination, if you want to call it like that. But if you have in mind already, or you have already a picture of something you would like to have in your image, you can use control net as well. This is not my scope today, so I'll just not use control net for now. Last thing I want to change is the seed. I have my seed already because I already played around with this picture before, but in your case, if you don't know what seed to use, just use -1. That's fine, it's a random seed, and then you can continue, generating images until you don't find the seed that you like. We have everything set now, we can press on to generate. Okay, this looks already better. However, if we zoom in on this picture, we can see that the blur of the mask and the original image is not blended perfectly. In order to adjust this, we can use soft inpainting, which is actually a new feature in Stable Diffusion. Not that new, but new. You can open this tab as well for having a look at the main settings, which for now, for me, are completely fine. Then if you are not happy with them, you can play around with them. But usually the default one are fine. So we just tick this and then we generate the image again. Okay, let's zoom in again. We can see how the new object in the image is blended better with the original image using the soft inpainting. Okay, now I would like to show you the difference between laden noise and laden nothing. The result will be very similar actually. So I'm going to swap this to laden noise and we are going to generate. And this is the result. As you can see, we have something there. And the next option I want to show you is when we use origin and when we use fill. So let's use original first. And this is the result using original. As you can see, nothing is actually coming out well, nothing nice and clean. Let's use fill now, which will probably be similar to this original one, so we won't have something nice, but let's see. Well, this went above my expectation, honestly. So we actually have something which is nice, but still is not as clean as the other one we are using with laden nothing and laden noise. Okay, that's it for today. I hope this was useful. We went through all of the main settings for using this Inpainting tab in Stable Diffusion. I hope this was useful and you enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.